2. Welcome back, man.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
Man, our friendship has developed so much since the last episode, but that was the first time we met, and just awesome to have you back.
Truly grateful.
So some things have developed since the last time you came back, and so we've added a new segment called the EDC Pocket Dump, Everyday Carry Pocket Dump. For those listening that don't know what an EDC is, it's what people carry on them every day. And I found that people are just super interested in what former special ops guys are carrying to protect themselves. You know, as the country continues down the downward spiral after the defunding the police movement. You know, we're seeing National Guard now in the subways in New York City. A lot of people are getting extremely concerned, you know, about just everyday safety. And so, what do you carry? What do you carry to protect yourself?
You know, Shawn, back when I was on the teams, we would go through low-vis training. So some of the stuff I used to do with the low-vis reconnaissance, we had to lower our posture, you know, in some of these foreign countries. So first you have to look at the latest trend, right? You have to lower your posture. So if you're a 200-pound meat eater, you got to lower your posture. And I learned this during low-vis training in DC, some of the training we had to go through to lower our posture. So in today's world, everybody carries a fanny pack, a kind of sling bag, right? A messenger bag. Those type of bags, what it does, it allows you to carry more, right, than what you can carry on your body. And you know, being on a gunfight, you're going to need first aid kit, you're going to need tourniquets, you're going to need extra mags, you're going to need tack lights, you're going to need, you know, optics on your weapon. So when you're carrying this on you, it's going to bulge. You're going to bulge your clothes. You know, it's going to make you stand out. If you're carrying tack lights, it's going to bulge your pockets. So those are things we look for. So when you look at the latest trend, you got, you know, if guys are carrying sling bags or carrying, that's a normal thing, which for me, when I travel on the teams, we would travel around the world. Bags are normal, and you want to lower your posture on a bag. You don't want to carry some 511 bag, some tack bag with molly straps around it, right? And I see that, and they're saying, hey, that's low vis, and that's not low vis. You want to carry something that's probably more on the metro side to lower your posture.
It looks like you're trying to be low vis when you're wearing those things. Especially in
511. Yeah. And we see it all the time through contractors, and they actually raise our posture, right? So for us, we would carry what's in the latest trend. So if I'm a businessman and I'm traveling internationally, I'm going to carry something within that trend. So I carry something fashionable that lowers my posture. I actually carry something like a Louis Vuitton sling bag. And the reason why I do this is, first, it was a gift from my wife, and I love my wife, and I carry it. But what I know is it lowers my posture. It gives me a different look, right? A 200-pound male walking around, it lowers your posture, but it also is a high-end bag, so it's going to attract attention as well. So you got to know your environment. So I pick my bags depending on my environment. For this environment, I pick this bag. Now, within the contents of this bag is my pistol. It's 2 extra mags. It's a tack light. It's a individual tack light as well. So in case I need to do searches, it has tourniquets, first aid kit. I have my wallet, I have communications, all contained in this bag.
What kind of communications? Phone or?
Just extra cell phone, extra battery sources. You know, phones run out. Phones, we can use it to locate. You know, I have a tracking device for my wife, she has for me. So the phone, some form of tracking like that. When I did low vis, we put beacons, strip beacons. You know, some of the the beacons that we would carry on our devices in case we get captured. You know,
what kind of medical are you carrying on an everyday? And you and your wife are going to the mall. Let's take the low vis overseas stuff out. You and your wife are going to the mall. What are you carrying in that bag?
You know, something that can just really stop the bleeding. So what we learned over in close quarters gunfights in Iraq was we can sustain the bleeding for a good 5 to 10 minutes. enough time to get you out. Or when you're talking about a permissive environment like America, a mall, you're going to have security guards, you're going to have paramedics in a mall. So I carry something that initially stops the bleeding. Definitely a tourniquet.
Yeah.
Definitely a tourniquet. The cat tourniquets are great. Those are the tourniquets we use overseas. It has the the stick and the tourniquet. But the thing was, we started working with Flex Defense. Flex Defense is a great company in the tactical industry, and they came out with a smaller mini tourniquet, and I can load up at least 5 tourniquets in that bag.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. What are you carrying as a weapon, as a firearm?
So being Rōnin in the industry, I work with some amazing gun companies. One of them being Agency Arms. And Agency Arms, we have produced a few firearms with them, but if we're actually producing our everyday carry firearm, we went with a 365 platform. The reason why is I want that round capacity. There's 15 round capacity on it. It's a full grip frame. I have big hands, so it's a full grip frame. Gives me controllability over that weapon. It's a Rōnin custom built, so the barrel compensator is one piece. You know as well as I do, any short slide pistol, it has some kick to it. So with the compensator, what it does, it lowers that kick, gets you back on target a lot faster. Also with the compensator, it's pushing that kinetic energy down and out.
Nice.
If that kinetic energy goes up, it's going to blind that sight. So I wanted, when I was working with Agency Arms, we were designing compensator, it doesn't affect the performance of that weapon, also the shooter's ability to get on target. We started working with Holosun Optics. We came out with our everyday close emitter optic. Close emitter optics, if you're carrying a pistol in a fanny carry or you're carrying in a pelvis, you can get lint and stuff in there. And when we draw our pistols, you don't want to fuzz up that optic. The closed emitter optics, it gives you that clean line of sight,
Nice.
Clean optic. And when we were working with Holosun, they have 9 different optics that you can toggle from. So if you just want a red dot, you can toggle to that. If I want a ring around my red dot, or if I want a ring plus this, a 1 minute angle dot, I could toggle in between all this for my pistol.
Nice. Well, and that's a 365?
365 platform, yes.
Interesting. Well, I got a buddy over at SIG. His name's Jason. I told him you were coming on, and he gave me something to give to you. So he's a huge fan. So here you go. Have you seen this yet?
No.
This is the latest and greatest SIG P365 Legion, all metal frame. It's got the compensator. You can put the optic on there. SIG redid their whole optics line, at least their whole red dot optics line, and
yes.
Yeah, they don't make them. They don't make full metal frames anymore.
No.
So it's nice to see. I mean, it's got some weight to it. What do you think of that thing?
Oh, I like it. It even has where the thumb goes to the 5 o'clock position. It has a place for that thumb to reference.
And it's 18. It's 18 rounds.
18 rounds.
17 in the mag and 1 in the pipe. Gives you 18 round mag capacity. It's SIG's really come around with some innovative stuff these days. I
feel
impressed.
like they're leading the way in the industry of coming out with different type of platforms. Tungsten frame.
Ooh, now you're quizzing me. I don't know what it's all made of. It's just metal.
It feels great. It feels great. I want to say this because the heavier or the lower frame, right, without getting ridiculous heavy where you don't want to carry it, it gives you a snapback, right? And it handles that recoil a lot easier because it absorbs that the recoil into the frame. So I like the heavier frame. It's a full grip frame.
I love that piece.
Mm-hmm.
I really think SIG leads the way especially in the subcompact
Yes.
market. I mean, they they revolutionized the whole game when they came out the original 365, and they just continue to innovate and lead the charge. And I think it's really cool that you're doing your own everyday carry weapon, which happens to be a 365.
And and I went with the 365 is because it's such a reliable platform. SIG did an amazing job, and I totally agree. Is this mine?
Yes, sir.
What?
Yep.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Wow.
But getting back to everyday carry, I mean, with the bag thing, that's the first time I've ever heard a lot of people carry a sling bag or some type of a go bag. First time I've ever heard anybody articulate wearing something different than something high end like that. And so I think some questions that we might get in the comments is, are you worried about, I mean, a Louis Vuitton bag is not cheap. It's a statement, and so does that, it could impose that you have a lot of money in that bag or maybe jewelry, or are you worried about that it makes you a bigger target because you're wearing some high-end stuff?
Absolutely. You should be totally aware of the situation in your environment. Like, I would not carry a Louis Vuitton bag around Thailand. I wouldn't carry it in Yemen. I wouldn't carry it in some other places, but I would definitely carry a sling bag, something that's indigenous to that local area. This is indigenous to America, right? And the status that I live, it's high end, absolutely. Would I carry this around certain areas in the neighborhood that were high in crime? No, I would not.
Yeah.
Right. And also, like, my gun platform could plus up. If I'm going into, I don't know, a high threat area, I'm not carrying a 365. I'm probably carrying a 320 platform. More of a attack gun. So it depends on the environment. And when the audience brings up, "Hey, are you concerned?" Yes, that should be a concern.
What holster do you run?
So I run a Kydex type of holster. That's form. It's I wouldn't say it's a name of a specific company. It was a custom build.
Oh, okay.
That I used to have slim line to my pelvis.
You carry appendix?
That's the fastest way for me.
Yeah.
On a concealed. For comfort, if I'm pulling PSD work, security detail, I would carry it on my hip just because I sit a lot, around vehicles. But yeah, everyday carry, I would carry in my pelvis. Now, for the sling bag application, like as well as I do, like carrying appendix carry all day long, man, it sucks, right? It sucks. So the thing is, I put it in my sling bag and people are like, well, how can you get to your gun? I can get to my gun in maybe 4 seconds versus getting to my gun in 1 second, right? And as well as I do, gunfights, you can kind of see it coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you, what about blades? You've designed, I lost count of how many blades you've designed. But what kind of blade do you carry? Do you do a fixed?
I battle with everyday carry on a blade for many years. And then finally, through my friends, Mark and Curtis from Spartan Blades, I want to tell you a story on them. They were my ex-teammates when I was in Japan. They were snipers when I was a young assaulter in Okinawa, Japan, and they got out. And they're best friends even to today. They're best friends back there, and they're best friends today. And they make some of the best knives out there. And the reason why I'm saying this is they're backlogged. They're very popular, Spartan Blade knives. So we made the Shinto blade, which was a ring blade. I got into ring blades when I was in the Philippines, right? I was learning Arnis and Estrema. And they would carry the karabit blade, which is a curved blade, but it had a ring to it. So I knew how to use that type of blade. I redesigned the blade in more of a tanto tip. So tanto back in samurai was they used it to pierce. It's a jabbing blade. It's a piercing blade. So I needed something that can pierce through clothing, right? The thick skin, getting into the major organs, and I needed the blade to be short enough, like 3 inches, right? So the blade is thick. It's called the Shinto blade. It's made by Spartan Blade. It has a ring to it. So imagine me not even deploying the blade. I can thump you in the head with that ring. And there is, if I reverse it to where the blade would be without employing it, there's actually a blunt tool that can pierce holes through your skull. So when we designed that blade, it was designed to be used as a blunt tool, or I can employ it into a blade. Now, how I choose to employ it is how I choose to pull my blade out of my pocket. If I turn my blade in and pull it out, there's a hook. It was the Emerson hook. So there's an Emerson hook. So if I turn in and I pull it out of my pocket, the hook is not going to hook my pocket. So it employs without the blade, non-lethal. If I turn the blade out and employ it, then the blade employs on the way out. So that is my blade. That is the blade I use. Because I can use as a blunt tool, and I can also use as an edge weapon.
Why do you say you struggle with whether you're going to carry a blade or not? I mean, there's a lot of people out there carrying a blade. I've seen multiple videos of you. I know how you know your way around a blade, and a lot more so than a lot of the other people that carry it. And, I don't know much about blade work at all, but your proficiency seems to be about as high as it gets. And so why would somebody like you struggle with carrying a blade?
No, not struggle with carrying a blade. Struggle with the design.
Oh, with the design.
Of how I want my everyday carry blade.
Do you carry a blade everywhere?
Yes.
Where do you carry the blade?
So in low vis, so when I say low vis, so one of the things we do is situational awareness, right? If we go in a restaurant, we're checking the guy's what? If he has a blade on him. If a guy has a blade on him, I know. If a guy has a pistol on him, depending on how he sits, the bulge of the pistol line, kind of know. So I would carry my blade in my pelvis line, hooked to where where you buckle your pants. And there is actually a line. There's a line of 550, right? So instead of reaching for the ring, I pull that 550, pulls the blade out immediately. It's deeply buried, right? So you don't see it in my pocket line.
Gotcha.
Right. So where I would carry a pistol if I was to carry a blade.
Interesting. What kind of timepiece do you got?
A Rolex Submariner.
Nice.
And you know the story on the Rolex and its special forces?
Let's hear it.
So back in Vietnam, they employed, the Green Berets, and they had to work with the indigenous population. And, they were making TDY money, right? And in Vietnam at that time, they had Rolexes. If you go into a foreign country and you link up with a foreigner and you need to get out of the country, what timepiece do you think is recognized by the world?
Rolex.
So the special forces would have the Rolex, and if they needed to get out of country, that was currency to get out of country. It's still being used today.
Nice. Why'd you pick the Submariner?
I have many Rolexes.
Oh, okay.
But the Submariner is a diving watch. I was a big diver at one point in my life.
Favorite timepiece?
Rolex Submariner. No, favorite timepiece?
Favorite timepiece of all time.
So Rolex Daytona.
You like the Daytona?
I love the Daytona.
Why? Why do you like the Daytona so much?
So in the movie Kill Bill.
The movie Kill Bill?
In the movie Kill Bill, when she found out she was pregnant in a hotel and that girl with the shotgun came in.
Yeah.
Well, there was a scene where she was holding a Submariner Daytona with a leather black strap.
No
and
kidding.
I don't know, man. I think that's just a classy watch. I just can't afford that watch.
Rolex has some classy watches, man.
Yeah.
They just redid a whole bunch of the line.
I love the GMT line, too.
Me too. They just redid that. We brought the black one back.
And you have the Batman.
I do.
I have the Batman. I break that
wait,
up.
no, I don't. I don't have the Batman.
No?
No. I have a GMT, but it's not the Batman.
Oh, okay. So my wife bought me the Batman.
Nice.
Yeah, back a long time ago, and I would wear the Batman when I like public speak and stuff like that.
That's a sharp watch. I like that. The Jubilee, is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Wristband.
Yeah.
What about those? So I don't think it's any secret from the last episode, and we'll get more into detail on this. Is that for anxiety?
No.
What is that?
So a lot of my bracelets, I collected bracelets all over the world. I have bracelets made out of tin cans from tribes, in Southeast Asia. And I have bracelets like this by monks. And some of my bracelets, not this one, but some of my bracelets were blessed by monks.
Oh, man.
Right? And what I do, it reminds me of Bushido, monks, I like the way it feels on my wrist. But also, when I meditate, I rotate this and I count each breath. So I use it also for meditation.
Why do you count each breath?
Keeps me present.
Okay.
So in meditation, what you want to do is you want to ground yourself in the present moment, right, through breath. And for me, it's through focus or some kind of activity in the present moment. One form of my many meditations.
We're getting way off subject here, but you were talking about that mat. What is the name of that mat?
The Bioacoustic mat.
The Bioacoustic mat. I'm getting one. Can you just give us a brief description of that? Because I struggle with meditation, and I've put the grounding mat, the grounding sheet on my bed that you plug in the wall to stay grounded, and it's probably bullshit. It was like $20 on Amazon. I can't find the real stuff. But then we were talking about that yesterday, and it's you go, because I can't describe it.
So, so stress management. Like stress management, a lot of people don't handle stress. Like we suppress our emotions, we suppress stress. So that's why we have a lot of issues, right? Every day we come home, we unwind by watching TV, drinking, right? That's another form of suppressing that thought. What I do is, so I have a bio mat, right? It's a bioacoustic and a biomat that sits on top of it. So let's talk about the biomat first. The biomat has crystals inside of this mat, and it has infrared lighting. So when you turn it on, it heats up, right? And you can set the temperature, right, on the heat. Right? If you set it all the way up, you probably won't be meditating very long. Like it gets really hot. It has to heat up the crystals. And what it does, it has this infrared lighting. It's really great so you have, when we talk about meditation, people talk about meditation, they don't understand why we meditate, okay? The reason why you meditate is because 95% of your brain runs off the subconscious mind. Your program. And that program is always running in the background. The only way to get to the subconscious mind is by slowing down the brain waves. So if I say to you, Shawn, you had a bad day, just get over it, dude. And you say in your mind, hey man, I just want to be happy. You can't do that because that's the conscious mind. And the conscious mind has no effect on the subconscious, which is the program. So how do I slow down my brainwaves? Through meditation, right? And okay, let's say you have trauma, you had a stressful day. Well, we remap our brains at night when we sleep. Only through delta, when you hit delta sleep. And how long do you stay in delta sleep?
Probably not very long.
So my friend had this mat that does a sleep study, right? And, he's very disciplined. He goes to bed at 9, he wakes up at 4, works out. He maybe sleeps at delta sleep for 2 hours, and that's total the whole night. So you're telling me 2 hours is going to repair your brain, your body? No way. So meditation, what it does, is slows down the brain waves to theta or delta. When I say delta that's REM sleep. So this bioacoustic mat, what it does is through the infrared lighting and the crystals and the heat, it slows you down to REM sleep. So I'm at delta, fully conscious. Let me tell you the power of that. If I'm putting positive affirmation into my practice by slowing down my brainwaves to delta, I'm reprogramming my subconscious.
Interesting.
Right, and it works. It works. So the bioacoustic mat, and then I have the bioacoustic mat that fits underneath the biomat is sound vibration. Okay, so Shawn, you believe me, man. Like, we believe everything's energy, and energy's vibration and frequency. So let's just say if you're having a bad day, your frequency's low that day, and you need to raise that frequency. Right? God frequency is around 550. Okay. So let's just say you're vibrating at a low frequency that day. Well, we have these different settings on the bioacoustic mat, and you hit, like, I don't know, energize, and it changes the vibration on the bioacoustic mat where you have this bass, right, that sits right underneath your major organs and is vibrating, and you have these two acoustics around your ears. So that's a form of meditation when you have different volume levels, different tones, right, fluctuating. It keeps you in the present moment. It helps you meditate. So by having these bioacoustics and that huge bass system is vibrating the organs, it's literally changing the frequency on you.
Oh, man.
So if I hit relax, I hit stress relief, it changes the frequency.
I'm ordering one of these.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, man. I'm getting one. But
that and the cold plunge.
The cold plunge too, huh?
You know, for me, the cold plunge was a game changer. There were certain things that I incorporated into my daily life that became a game changer. Meditation was one, the bioacoustic mat. The cold plunge, what it does is, dopamine releasing. So in Dopamine Nation, that book, it talks about dopamine release and how we chase desires and pleasures. Well, when you chase desires and pleasure, what it does is your pleasure and your pain comes from the same receptor in the brain. So it has to balance. The body has to balance. So if you chase desire, well, there's going to be pain associated with it.
Interesting.
Right? So how do you get rid of that? Don't chase desire, you chase pain. So when I say this is, you ever went to the gym and worked out and it smoked you and you felt great afterwards? You were in the Navy. You ever jumped in cold water and it sucked at the time when you got out? It was one of the most refreshing things.
No.
Yes, I get it. So cold plunging for me is, man, you make it through that first 2 minutes. Actually, it was 1 minute and 45 seconds for me. If I make it to 1 minute and 45 seconds, my body kind of goes numb, and then I can stay in there forever.
Damn, dude. Let the hypothermia just set in, huh?
Yeah, but I feel great, man. I do that every day. And what it does is build resilience.
I got to do this. I've heard so many people talking about this. I thought it was a fad. I was like, this is going to fizzle out in a week. But it's not fizzling out, and we were talking about it yesterday, and we'll get into this more in the show. But yeah, I got to start trying that. One last question, back to everyday carry. What is like I had mentioned at the beginning of this segment, a lot of people are worried about self-protection, how to defend, against the crime that we're seeing, protect their families. What is the number one thing you see beginners make a mistake on when it comes to everyday carry?
They don't know their environment. When I say that is, when we're on the teams, I work in a jungle environment. I'm going to pick a weapon that's proficient in that environment. I work in Afghanistan. If I work in Iraq, which is a close quarters where my rifle barrel is going to be a shorter length because the movements need to be faster, right? They don't know their environment. They don't know their environment. So when I say that is, if you live in a high threat environment, you probably want a high round count pistol, right? If your every day is you got to walk through this parking lot that was kind of dark, you probably want some kind of tack light on your weapon. You probably want an optic because you're not going to get that, that front sight crystal clear with the rear sight. Or some tritium sight, so what I'm saying is they don't know their environment. And that's the first thing I say to you is know your environment and then know your capabilities. So if you are a 55-year-old female that can't rack a slide, you probably need a revolver, right? You need something that is fail-proof for you, right?
Good
So
point.
that's the number one thing, man. Like, know your environment, know your everyday pattern, look at the weak points in your pattern, and put a weapon or an instrument there is going to level out that playing field.
Good advice. Good advice. All right, too. Well, that was a great warm-up segment, and let's get into the show here. No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.